Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion.
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Oh, it is so good to be back with you again. Man, I cannot tell you how excited we are to welcome you back inside the Country Financial Studio because Oregon Football Media Day is tomorrow. That means we're going to hear from Mario Cristobal, going to hear from all of the coaches and student athletes about the upcoming football season. And if you haven't seen the news, 100% capacity at Autzen Stadium, ladies and gentlemen. We'll tell you all about that. You can go to GoDucks.com to read some of the details. We'll talk about this team, and it's my pleasure to kick things off with a little bit of a bang. The head man himself, Rob Mullens, is here with us for our regular athletic director interview. Now, normally it's going to be on a Tuesday. I promise that we will go back to the usual Tuesday spot for you. But because it's Media Day tomorrow, thanks for coming in early and starting your week with us. How are things?
Yeah, what a great way to start the week. Good to be here. Football right around the corner. Pac-12 Media Days last week. Oregon Football Media Day tomorrow. Lots to celebrate.
So a lot of people are going to ask this question. We're wearing masks. That's because we're in the same room. That's the updated policy, and we're doing our part so that we can have a full football season and a full capacity Autzen Stadium. What should fans know? That seems to be the big question everybody wants to know heading into this year.
Well, I mean, we were trending the right way. Obviously, we saw that the state hit the 70% vaccination level. We've been very pleased with the number of student athletes that have been vaccinated, the number of staff have been vaccinated. But now with this daggone Delta variant, obviously we're seeing a spike in cases in Lane County. Starting to see some increase in hospitalizations. So the university took the step of an indoor mask mandate, and I think I saw this morning that the CDC has updated their mask policy as well. You're starting to see some retailers kind of following the CDC's highly recommended indoor mask wearing where there's, density of people. So at this point, this is only related to indoors. Fortunately, Autzen is outdoors. And we're excited to get going.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of questions, and we've all learned that we have to adapt very quickly. But I'll just say it's great, though, if this is what it takes to have people sitting in the comfy chair again. Scott and I are just going to be rejoicing because it's been nice to be back in the office, hasn't it?
It is nice, although we've kind of been doing it in a slow, measured way. Just kind of the way we've taken everything from the beginning of COVID is to make sure that we have good plans with health and safety first. And then, execute those in a stage by stage. But it is good to have folks back. There's lots of energy and excitement. We saw it at kind of our Saturday Night Live on Saturday night. And the momentum is building just thanks to all those folks who've renewed their season tickets, to all the new season ticket holders. Our student athletes cannot wait to get back into Autzen Stadium, Matthew Knight Arena, Pape Field, this fall and get back to a normal season.
We're at less than 2 weeks away from Oregon soccer's first return to the pitch, which is great. And Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, is going to join us on the show coming up a little later on, in addition to a bunch of football stuff that we have for you today. You mentioned season tickets being on sale. I think that's an important thing that I wanted to talk with you about, Rob. I mean, just to be able to talk about that again is, one, it's just emotional for me to be able to sit here and say, yeah, there's actually going to be fans again, but it is a huge deal for a lot of different reasons.
It's extremely important. Obviously, as we've talked about on here, Joey, many, many times, is, the season ticket holders and the donors are the life support of an athletic program, because the reality is much is made of TV and corporate partners, and those are extremely important. But when it comes down to it, when you look across the finances of Oregon athletics, it is that ticket revenue and those donations that drive our 20 programs. And we're coming off another outstanding year on the field. We had some challenges making our way through COVID financially because of what it did. But the way to get back is, in fact, filling up those venues again. And our passionate fans are certainly stepping up, and we cannot wait to get back in there and feel that energy.
Well, it's been the word from student athletes, too. I mean, going through a very difficult year for everybody, but for student athletes to be able to play in front of fans again, that's what it's all about.
It is what it's all about. And, every one of those student athletes that competed in a venue that was either empty or had minimal fans will tell you, obviously they play for their teammates. But one of the reasons they choose to come compete at the highest level, and specifically at the University of Oregon, is because we have a unique student experience. And part of that experience is the fans in our venues. West of the Mississippi, this is as good as it gets from a fan standpoint across the board. Autzen Stadium, you could stack up against Matthew Knight Arena, Jane Sanders Stadium. You could stack up against any venue in all of sports, let alone college sports, for the home field advantage that it creates. And so that's important for our student athletes. It's important for recruiting. There's just so many levels to it.
The number of victories that have occurred at home at Oregon, and the big number that everybody always talks about, you and I have discussed this before, is you look at the winning percentage of all of Oregon football, but particularly at Autzen Stadium before the pick and then after the pick. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. And that's true of every other sport. I'll just come out and say it. I need to do the math, to be honest with you, but the home field advantage is next level. That's because of the fans and the passion, but it's also because you got a lot of great coaches that are leading your teams too, right? So that's one thing I wanted to ask you about, because we have not had you on the show since the Director's Cup standings came out over the summer, and you had to be pretty proud of your athletic department.
Very proud. Obviously, that's, broad-based excellence and student-athlete experience are the two key pillars that drive Oregon athletics. And to see what our coaches and student-athletes went through last year, from the daily testing to the schedules constantly changing to having contests canceled or rescheduled, was extremely difficult. But when you look across all 20 programs, the way our student athletes and coaches performed was really remarkable under the circumstances.
We'll talk a little bit more about football. I want to switch gears with Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens joining us. And those of you who are maybe checking in a little bit later, I saw one question coming in about vaccinations and if that means you don't have to wear a mask. Remember, Autzen Stadium, as it pertains to Autzen Stadium, outdoor venue. Now, indoor venue, different conversation when we get to volleyball season, and we'll probably have to have that conversation.
We probably will have to have that conversation. It's a little early now, but once we get to those, similar to last year, stay tuned in to GoDucks.com and all of our social media channels. We will keep you updated on the latest local and state public health guidance. And we're still in constant communication with Lane County Public Health, with the Oregon Health Authority, under the guidance of the university's incident management team on all these protocols.
Before I move on, just real quick, it occurs to me, and I know the answer to this question, but I think it's important for fans to know too, that student athletes are still exercising, working out, and doing everything that they need to do while following these guidelines. So it is changing rapidly for your staff.
It is changing rapidly. And, again, we'll continue to monitor that closely. And as we've said all along on here, the best way to get back to normal is vaccination. And, again, I'm really proud of all of our student athletes and staff that have done their part in helping us get back to normal.
I mentioned women's soccer season coming up, but I want to talk to you a little bit about that before we go back to some football, because, one, the first year for Graeme Abel, I don't think you could have written a movie like that. You could. No one would have thought that this would have been the first year. It takes more than a year for him to play his first game and as the head coach and all these things. Then they had a pretty darn good season, and now it's coming right back up for us.
They had an amazing season. We focus on a lot of great things, but there's first evers, and there's some first evers in there for Graeme, and, beating Stanford and having the year they have. And if it was a normal year in a 64-team field, the Oregon Ducks are in the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
So it was an NCAA tournament level team. And really just a remarkable jumping off point for his first year. And, just think about the challenges that Graeme had transitioning not only in the role of a head coach, a new head coach with his team and getting the season delayed, but his family was still in Seattle, and all the things that Graeme went through to still be there for the student athletes and build a really strong foundation. I'm excited for the season.
I want to talk with you a little bit about Oregon volleyball too. Matt Ulmer's going to be with us on the show for the first time in the new season next week. Always a fun time. Anybody who's seen Coach Ulmer and I have a conversation, it's always a good time. Just like I see
he gave you his volleyball.
He did, and so that this is maybe the most valuable thing on the desk. I mean, this is one of a kind.
You can't buy that.
You cannot buy that volleyball. I mean, I've been asked, Rob, before. That's actually an interesting question. What's the most valuable thing on the desk? I don't know. There's a lot of one in a millions. I will say that I don't know if you've seen this, Rob. This is a tennis ball that Coach Schielander gave us, that's signed by Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and John McEnroe.
That's pretty strong.
I said to Coach Schielander, I was like, "Are you sure that you want to give that to us?"
He must have a closet.
I was going to say he's probably got a few of them, because that's Coach Schielander for you. But anyway, we digress. Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens joining us. But volleyball season coming up too, and it's a short recovery time for both of those sports. Shorter. It's the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, no, it is. But, a lot of thought was given to how we crafted those seasons in the spring, knowing that student athletes do need some time away, and it wouldn't be a normal off season. So, some thought was given to that before all the spring stuff was created. And so, again, I know the student athletes are excited to get back and get going.
Coach Radley, Derek Radley, another tremendous head coach. Oregon women's golf announcing a contract extension here a few days ago. I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah, no, Derek, Coach D has done a fantastic job. He and Monica, what they've done in Oregon's women's golf. And, really, what were we, 2 strokes away from getting in to the match play. Which really remarkable. Again, with all that they went through, and their regional was rained out, to go all the way to Baton Rouge and not get to play, but then be ready for that next level and perform under tremendous pressure. And again, with a young team to be that close to getting into match play. And once you get into match play, anything can happen.
And, a young team, too, and something that Coach Radley and I talked a lot about was the fact that he's got such an international flavor on his roster, and in the world we're living in now, that created some of its own problems.
Yeah, no, I mean, to think what, those, for as we went to remote education, how difficult it was for our international student athletes with their travel. And, again, when you just break it down, all that these student athletes and staff went through and how they stuck together and hung in there and really supported one another in just getting to a season, let alone having a 10th place finish in the NCAA championships and being 2 strokes away. Yeah, I mean, he and Monica are just amazing at building the culture, and what they've been able to do in recruiting has been phenomenal.
Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens, our guest. Quick timeout. When we come back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, we've got a little more football to discuss. Haven't even gotten into some Olympic ducks yet, which is, man, you talk about something that we're glad that it's finally here. You still see all of the Tokyo 2020 branding, and I just think, man, it's 2021. Like, I have to double take every time, Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens is here with us. Quick timeout back inside the Country Financial Studio after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Back on Nugget Cider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're here inside the Country Financial Studio. I'm Joey Mack. Great to be back with you. Kicking things off with a bang, Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens is here with us. If you're just joining us and you missed any of our conversation about just what it's going to mean to have a full Autzen Stadium, well, you can always subscribe to the podcast or go back and watch on demand on one of the various places that we put Duck Insider. And of course, GoDucks.com. In fact, if you go to GoDucks.com and you have questions, it's really nice right now. There's a big red bar at the top. You can't miss it. You click on it, and then it gives you the FAQ, the frequently asked questions, which, Rob, I think that we'll probably be referring to that for a while. And FAQs are usually helpful, aren't they?
That is certainly what they're designed for, and that's the goal, is to keep them updated and keep them fresh to answer as many questions as possible.
Autzen Stadium, we've been talking a lot about that, but we've yet to really hit on the team itself. There sure is a lot of excitement around a team that's coming off a Pac-12 championship.
No doubt. The last couple of years have been really exciting, and even though last year was a shortened season, to get that Pac-12 championship and get a chance to play in the Fiesta Bowl was meaningful. And it, with the number of student athletes that we have back, some of these great recruiting classes gaining some experience, we're set for another exciting year.
One thing that we did not hit on with Autzen Stadium earlier is digital tickets and the amount that the industry has really moved that way. I feel like this is sort of like a clear bag policy similar discussion where the industry moved that way, and we hope fans are ready for it and embrace it.
Yeah, I think as you listen to, kind of what's happened across, all sorts of sectors of business, I think technology's been accelerated, 4 or 5 years?
Probably.
And, you think about how long we've been using mobile ticketing with our airline travels. It's surprising that sports didn't move along with airline industries. Very rarely do you go to the airport and see a paper ticket anymore. Mm-hmm. It's almost all mobile, and because of the safety of it and the ease of it, you're starting to see that across all sports. I know in a number of the professional sports, they're all mobile, and I think you're seeing a large majority of colleges go that way as well.
Before I hit on some of the bigger picture questions here, just what else did we miss on football? Anything else that you feel like fans should know, or is it just really keep up to date as best we can?
I think it's keep up to date as best we can. It's going to be really fluid as we continue to monitor this. And the only other thing is we can't wait for people to come in and see that big new scoreboard.
Yeah, that's true.
New sound system.
Gosh,
it's going to be an enhanced Autzen experience.
Hey, real quick on that note too, I've given a lot of credit and gone through the details with just an amazing effort by a lot of different people that made that scoreboard possible. I think it's cool to note, and this is, again, forgive me for being an audio nerd, started as an audio project, and then it turned into this. I mean, that's going to be awesome for fans to see.
Yeah, it really did start as an audio project, and then we had a donor that we were approaching about the project suggest, hey, why don't you think big about this? If we're going to do this, let's really think about changing this. And we had a lot of generous donors step up, and when we got into it, it just made a lot of sense. If we're going to be mobilizing and creating something, let's really change Autzen. Because the video board was nice, but it was getting dated as well. So I think people are going to be surprised when they see the size, the video quality, and of course, kind of as you said, the driver was the audio.
The video quality is breathtaking. Don Essig will never sound has never sounded so good. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, and the referee, Mike, I know, when we receive complaints from fans that could never hear the referee, we'll be able to hear the referee now.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I definitely can attest to that. A couple bigger picture questions for you, Rob, as we talk with Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullens. Conference realignment. I didn't think that I'd be asking you about this when we scheduled you to come on this day. Fans, you've seen it. You know what goes on. You see all the same reports that I do. I mean, look, Rob, is this just like the ultimate example of this industry is constantly changing?
I think it is. I know, when I arrived here in 2010, that was right when there was some movement happening. And I think, we talked about several times that it was just going to be the nature. It was going to be, the landscape was always going to be changing. This one did kind of come out of nowhere, so I think it caught some folks by surprise. But I think that's just the nature of the industry that we're in now. There's going to be this continuous movement. Fortunately, with the Pac-12, when we added Colorado and Utah, had a strong 12, strongly aligned universities, great schools, great leadership, and we're in a good place. As George said, our new commissioner said at Pac-12 Media Days, we're in a really, really good position. We can certainly take all those inbound calls and determine what's best for our league, but right now we are well positioned.
Tell us a little bit about our new commissioner. I haven't gotten you a chance to really talk with you about him yet.
Yeah, we had a chance to go meet with him briefly in Vegas as kind of an intro with the ADs, and then had the chance to spend a couple of days with him at Football Media Days last week. Really excited for George to get on board. He started his campus tour. He'll be visiting Eugene here in the coming weeks. Obviously he brings a wealth of experience from different industries. Obviously he's got a bit of a media background, an event background, most recently at MGM and what the success that they've had there. And really excited to have his energy, his enthusiasm, and his vision for what this league can become. We have Conference of Champions, obviously, but we saw a huge step in men's basketball with the NCAA tournament last year. 2 Pac-12 teams in the NCAA Women's Basketball National Championship. I think you're going to see the same thing from football. When I started hearing the statistics of the number of starters that were returning in the Pac-12, the likelihood of the number of first-round draft choices, this is going to be a phenomenal year in the Pac-12, and we need to take advantage of that.
And I think that it's no secret that a lot of the conversation has been around football, men's basketball. Those are the revenue drivers, as we've discussed. But, to talk a little bit about the Olympics, if we could, did you see the statistic that if the Pac-12 was a country, it'd be like the 3rd or 4th most medals of a country? I mean, that's amazing. That's crazy.
I love that statistic. It's been shared at past games. And when you look at the strength and depth of this league, it's fun to turn on whatever NBC channel you're tuned into and see not only the Pac-12 flavor, but even the Oregon flavor. I mean, when we hosted the trials, what a way to showcase, kind of the reimagined Hayward Field, and then to tune in and watch Jenna run, and it's you constantly are hearing the Ducks mentioned, which is great for Oregon track and field. It's great for the Ducks brand, and it's fun.
And there's more to come, by the way. We'll be tracking it on Duck Insider. We actually contemplated, normally because fall camp for football starts this week. That's why we always time Duck Insider's break to end around then. But we discussed, man, there's a lot of Olympics going on. We could do an hour every day just talking about the Olympic schedule because there's so many of them. And it's not just on track and field. It's baseball. It's softball. It's everywhere. It's awesome.
No, it's great. And obviously, Janie Reed, Takeda Reed.
That's right.
Had a phenomenal Olympics. What a fun story with her and Jake having that, big moments, thousands of miles apart. But yeah, it's, again, for us, that student-athlete experience and that broad-based excellence, that's what it produces, right? It gives student-athletes the chance to compete at the highest level. And in many of these sports, the Olympics is the highest level.
Yeah, and it's there's nothing like representing your country. I think I've talked to so many different athletes over the years, and that's usually one of the top things they say is just when you get to do that, that's That's something else. Something else that has been big headlines that I need to ask you about is name, image, and likeness. Catch fans up, because it's been a while since we've talked about this, on where things stand. And there's a lot of headlines. There's a lot of people that ask a lot of questions. So I'm just going to ask the expert, what do we need to know?
Well, I think what you need to know is that obviously, the rule got finalized on June 30th and effective July 1. I think the driving goal was, in fact, to have one national standard. Unfortunately, that wasn't reached right out of the gate. So, the NCAA took a minimalist approach, and that minimalist approach was no recruiting inducement, no pay for play, comply with your state law. So for us at the University of Oregon, we are complying with Oregon Senate Bill 5, which is similar to a number of other states and gives our student athletes the freedom to, in fact, benefit from their name, image, likeness, which we have always been a proponent of. We're on this continuum of, we were able to pay for cost of attendance, add meals, and do a number of other things as we move towards this student-centered approach. Name, image, likeness is the next step, and a number of our student athletes have been able to take advantage of it. For the past several months, compliance has been working with the business school and the School of Journalism and Communications to build a robust education program, because that's really about all we're allowed to do. We're not allowed to be in the middle of transactions, but we can educate our student athletes, make sure that they're well prepared as they go out into our community or with our donors to do these deals and create opportunities for themselves, that they have a good foundation.
Where does it go from here? I mean, what's next in that realm?
Boy, if I knew that, I'm not sure I'd be sitting here. I still do think that ultimately college athletics would benefit from clarity on one set of standards. Trying to manage 50 patchwork sets of laws and states that, even though the differences may not be significant, it is enough to create some confusion and potentially create some imbalance competitively. So hopefully we can get to a point, I think everybody's on the same page that we do want our student athletes to absolutely benefit from name, image, likeness. I don't think anyone wants to see it used as a recruiting inducement. And we do want measures in place to protect our student athletes, to make sure that nothing negative happens to them. And so, this is the first step. We're all learning every day about it. And we continually update our student athletes on what we learn, again, to help them benefit from the opportunity, but also to provide some protection.
Never a dull moment, huh?
Boy, I don't know that there have been any bigger changes in the last, 2 months in college athletics in my 25 years.
Yeah, moves quick. You gonna get any time off?
Doesn't appear that way, but that's all right. We'll take it. If we can get closer to normal, we'll just keep plowing through.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I think whatever it takes to have a normal football Saturday, that's what I'm signing up for.
Yeah, I'll invoke a Mario line, which you may hear tomorrow at Media Day. It takes what it takes.
Yeah, the over/under is going to be about 2.5 on I think it takes what it takes. Yeah. I'm going to say for Coach Cristobal.
I'm going with the over.
We over? Okay, all right. We're on record now. Wait, okay. So this is a new edition of the show we haven't talked about yet. Scott and I each got gavels, so we're trying to decide exactly what we're going to do on the show. But I guess that's like. Rob has spoken, so that's it. Rob Mullens, thank you so much for taking the time. And hey, we'll do this again about once a month. We try to have Rob come in and kind of give us I guess it's like a state of the department every month or so.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it's in person. Maybe we'll get to some point when we can remove the masks. But as you said earlier, if this is what it takes to do this, it's what it takes.
I'm just glad that there's people in the hallways again around here, because it got real lonely for people like me and Scott. So it's good to have everybody back. And, hey, we'll see you at Autzen Stadium, huh?
Can't wait.
Rob Mullens, Oregon Athletic Director, kind enough to join us. When we come back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union, a whole lot more to talk about, actually, because Graeme Abel is going to be here. We're going to talk with Oregon soccer head coach Graeme Abel. Do a lot more coming up next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, welcome to the Spicy Drive-In. May I take your order?
Can I get the spicy chicken sandwich, please?
The spicy chicken is an excellent choice, sir. And to drink?
Whatever's fine.
Oh, may I make a beverage pairing recommendation this evening?
Sure.
If we are feeling especially bold tonight, sir, I would recommend the Mountain Dew with that. It's bravely unrestrained with a very alive aroma that pairs wonderfully with your spicy chicken. It's followed by a hint of zesty citrus flavor.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I'm sure you already know this, sir, but remember to appreciate the nose first by giving the Mountain Dew a little swirl to really volatilize it.
What?
To change the flavor compounds and activate your taste buds to get them fully primed for that chicken sandwich.
It's delicious.
Now you're getting the hang of it. The muscular flavor charge characteristics of Mountain Dew make for an absolutely epic mouthfeel when paired with spicy cuisine. It is quite on point, sir.
Dude, it's a perfect match. Like they were made for each other.
So true, so true.
When you want to make good food bolder and bold food better, do the Dew.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. They can help save lives by not having play dates. That's right. By replacing get-togethers with virtual play dates and video chats, they can help slow the evil spread of germs. And if your superheroes do go outside, make sure they continue their superhero wing by staying 6 feet away from others to protect everyone in America land. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, I'm Joey Mack here with you for Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. All right, I know we're going to get a lot of questions about this. And first of all, I have my glasses back on so that I can actually see. I spent an entire year with either fogged up glasses, so I really couldn't see anything, or I was sitting without glasses on so that they weren't getting foggy, and I found that my vision, as you can imagine, got way worse in the last year. Scott Phillips probably did too. Everyone's going to ask us questions about this. When we have a guest in studio, the up-to-date policy based on the Delta variant is that we will have masks on like you just saw Rob Mullens and I doing. When I am sitting here, quite a ways away from Scott, actually, our studio looks a lot bigger, I think, maybe on that camera than it is. But we measured it. This is about 18.5 feet for me and Scott with a filtration system that, I'll tell you what, everybody, it hasn't died yet. We got time. We got time left. So that's the latest. We're going to have Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, join us next segment. But, hey, as you know, we're back. This is what we're going to be doing with you every hour. And tomorrow's Media Day. Mario Cristobal going to meet with the media. A number of Oregon football student athletes will meet with the media. So you're going to see a slew of information around Oregon football. And in addition, for our purposes, we'll have a jam-packed show for you. Jerry Allen's going to be roaming around talking to a bunch of different folks. And we also, I'm happy to introduce you to our buddy Sean McPherson. He's going to be with us. We actually have kind of created a position working with our friends at KWVA to kind of bridge the OSN KWVA gap. Now, you all know I went to school at Oregon. KWVA, the student radio station, is how I met Jerry and how I ended up sitting in this chair. And we're just kind of formalizing that. So Sean, who's been the voice of Oregon volleyball the last couple years, is going to be helping us out at Media Day. And I'm really looking forward to that. You'll get to know him here coming up. What did you do during the summer, Scott Phillips? Did you do anything exciting whatsoever?
Took a couple vacations.
Oh, good.
Went to Lake Tahoe.
Good.
Went to Sun River.
Okay.
Went to L.A.
Good.
That's about it.
All right. Mitchell Lee is again with us. We want to bring in our man who is the voice of OSN. And I say that because anybody who's watching the show, you can't actually see Mitchell because he's back in the radio uplink studio in the OSN studios at Learfield. So, Mitchell, what'd you do all summer? Anything exciting?
No. Not much exciting at all. Just kind of catch my breath. Get to see some family on the other side of the country in Montana. So was in Montana for about a week and a
Good.
half, but that's about it.
I'm glad. Well, Mitchell is back with us again. So there's your whole crew, and we're all looking forward to being able to come home to Autzen Stadium, to Pape Field, to Matthew Knight Arena here soon. The man who is the next guest on Duck Insider has just walked into the studio. That means that it's time for us to take a quick timeout. When we return, we've got Graeme Abel. We might talk about some Olympic soccer. Maybe. He just winked at me. I'm not sure if that was a yes or a no. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Exit Strategy, no matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Exit Strategy, no matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. The last time this man was in the studio, we were talking about the first season as the Oregon soccer head coach coming to an end. I said at the beginning of the show today, as Graeme Abel joins us, welcome back, by the way. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You know, I don't think that you could have ever imagined that your first season would have gone the way that it did because it took about a year for it to get played. I'm not sure that we could have even come up with a movie script for that, and yet here we are. So now that season's behind you, you've had a bit of an off season. You're about to start season 2.
Yeah.
How you feeling right now?
Good. I mean, it's short turnaround. I mean,
Yeah.
the most important thing was we got our kids to recover. They got a good break. I mean, it was a long year for them. Forget about the soccer piece, just the emotional piece of it all with regards to the COVID piece. So we feel refreshed. We've been doing some meetings and stuff today, and no, it's glad to see them all back on campus.
Yeah, so where are we? I mean, because you guys are less than 2 weeks away from playing somebody that isn't wearing an Oregon uniform.
Yeah.
So where are we?
I'll tell you tomorrow. No, I
Fair
mean,
enough.
we obviously not like football. We don't get a summer piece where we get to train with them. So they've had their plans. You know, we left in a really good place. We left in a really fit place, fairly injury free. So they've taken care of themselves, I'm sure, over the summer, and spirits are great. They look great, so looking forward to tomorrow morning and seeing exactly where they're at.
So let me, before I go any further, let me also update you on the personal life of head coach Graeme Abel. Can you tell fans what you've been up to all summer? Because you had a new addition to your family, and I think, are you settled in yet down here? Is everybody here, the family in town?
We family moved down, so it's my wife's painting the house because I've been gone recruiting. I've had a few trips to Home Depot along the way, so it's been a fun summer.
Yeah, good. Good. What color did she pick?
White.
That's good.
So,
That's what we did.
I can't wait for the kids to get their handprints all over the place.
Oh, sure.
So
yeah.
that'll be fun.
Yeah, we painted. We bought our house 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago. Let's see. I've been married 3 years now. We bought our house 3 years ago. Lizzie, if you're listening, I did remember that off the top of my head. Thank you. And she was like, I want white on every wall. And so we did that. We did the whole house.
Now, the kids' accent wall is green.
Oh,
so
good.
we're going to go for a yellow wall on the other side.
Now, did you get the right color code and did you match it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The colors are. I don't know if was it nightmare green or
Depends.
apple green or Oregon green.
Yeah. As far as I know, this one is Oregon green, the lighter color. That's what I've been told by the masters behind it all. Which, by the way, many of you who are asking, and maybe you saw this too, about the Duck who was going to make a big announcement today. The announcement is that the Duck wrote a book, if anybody missed that. All the proceeds of the book that the Duck wrote are going to the cheer and mascot program. But if we're talking about just other things, if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, and real quick, just know that there might be some other announcements coming from Oregon Athletics that you'll see this evening. If you're listening on one of our affiliate stations later on, and you're not live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, you just go check on the social media right now. I get past that. Can I ask you about something that happens off the field, which I think is really cool? Sophia Chambers, a post-grad scholarship from the Pac-12 in biokinesiology, first of all. That's like sports science on ridiculously good sports science is what we're talking about here. How cool was that to see that with Sophia Chambers?
It's awesome. We've got so many alum that are doing great things. I mean, working in all different, avenues and industries and things like that. So, and that's what we're here for, right? We're here to help these kids move on and become great in whatever they want to do in their lives. So, seeing someone go ahead and do that, and what is it? I don't even know.
Biokinesiology.
Yeah, that's too big for me. So it's.
Me too.
Yeah, I'll just keep coaching soccer.
Well, that's bigger than me. I can't do that. But I was going to ask you, though, just a little bit about you are a big believer and investor in the sports science piece behind your sport. You're seeing more and more, at least I think, student athletes get more interested in that. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, it's how you educate them. That's the big piece, is educating them into the process. They want to know the why behind everything. Mm-hmm. So talking them through that piece, and we've spoken a number of times. We've got an incredible department here with Jordan and Ben and how they handle that whole piece. And so they're really interested in it and they see how it benefits them. And like I said, it's continually educate them because we're doing new things all the time here at Oregon. It continuously changes, and that's one of the beauties of our department. And so continually educating them about the new things that we're doing to help enhance their performance and keep them on the field health-wise. And so it's awesome. It's fascinating stuff.
So now back to your team coming up this year. You got Corbin next Friday.
Yep.
That's your first exhibition. That's, by the way, going to be at Pape Field. And there's going to be fans there, Coach. I mean, just how excited are you to have that back in your life?
I've done nothing with the community outside of a few camps this summer. We want to be tremendously involved in the community. It just when everything got shut down, it was the focus was just on our student athletes at that point and making sure that they were okay. So we're just excited to invite the community back to Pape. We were just talking earlier about, seeing the pressure washing of the stadiums and stuff like that, and it being a regular fall. And, I was saying to Lisa Peterson the other day, I've not gone through an actual collegiate fall since 2014. So I'm excited about that entire piece.
Wild.
Like I said, for years, my wife's been telling me about Oregon football, so I can't wait to see Oregon football in person. So we're just excited about the entire fall and, what it offers for us.
Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, joining us. They're going to talk about your roster in a second. I want to talk to you a little bit more about your schedule. But you got Corbin next week. We'll do kind of a full game preview for that one next week and give you some of the details. Season tickets are on sale for Oregon soccer. Go to GoDucks.com. Fresno State, San Francisco, Northern Arizona, UC Santa Barbara, Texas. You got a trip to Texas coming up. Baylor, Portland State. Then you get into conference action. Now, you like the way your schedule stacked up, and I know it was probably hard to put one together, wasn't it?
When Rachel Doyle, she finished it up for us in terms of figuring it out and making sure the travel was right, making sure we got an out-of-region game, and we wanted to go into Big 12 country. And is it Big 12 or SEC these days? I don't know.
Who knows? I don't know. God.
So there might be some controversy there.
If you can keep track of that, then you're going to be better than me.
But no, Texas and Baylor, I knew them from our Big 12 days at Oklahoma, so that's going to be a good road trip, and that'll prep us for some of the games in the Pac-12 as well. So it's a really good schedule that Rich has put together for us. So we're we're looking forward to getting going next Friday.
Is the Pac-12 any good this year?
Is it ever bad?
I don't think so.
I mean, what was it? We played 14 of our 16 games were Pac-12 games last year, so it was great for me to learn about all the other teams, all the other coaches, the other players, and things like that. So, yeah, it was. I'm looking forward to it.
Who do you need to have big seasons from? Who are you relying on from a leadership perspective heading into this fall?
Everyone. I mean, I try not to put too much emphasis on single players because we all have to have a hand in it. Yeah. We've got 26 tremendous student athletes that can all give us something in our day-to-day environment, which is what we talk about all the time. It ain't about the games. It's about our day-to-day environment. We really cherish that, the practices and how we treat one another day-to-day and that atmosphere. So I'm not going to go singling out anyone, and I know that may be cliche because the environment of what happens tomorrow and how we continue through the season every single day at Pape when we train is going to be key to having success this year.
I do want to ask you about a couple of your veterans then, if I could. I mean, because this is going to be the first year where we've had to deal with the uniqueness of a fifth-year player and things like that.
Super seniors.
Yeah, so is that what we're calling them?
That's what someone told me, the super seniors.
So that's the official.
I don't know if it's official or not, but it sounds
good. Well, it's
good.
official to your team.
Sounds good.
Okay, super seniors. I mean, just players like Eden Hardy. You know, you've got Chardonnay Curran. I mean, just what does it mean to have those sorts of veterans that are just another year of experience, another year older, that are still in your program?
The entire senior class, we saw unbelievable evolution and growth from those four in particular. I mean, Eden, you know, what Eden did for us last season was incredible. You know, Shar actually played in the back line a lot for us last year. Mia Palmer, you know, Trudai Dasco, I think is an incredibly talented young woman. So having those four still around, because they're great to be around as well as people, but really talented soccer players as well.
How much Olympic soccer are you watching?
I've watched a bit. So I must admit, I haven't been up at 3 a.m. in the morning. I've been catching the games the next day.
Later on. So you're benefiting from the rebroadcast then?
I am.
Good. And for those of you that don't know, Coach Abel spent a long time working with Team USA. So I imagine that you've got some rooting interest. I can.
Yeah. It was. You know, the Olympics is completely different than the World Cup.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm being honest, the Olympics is probably a second-tier tournament compared to the World Cup. The short turnarounds in games. It's not. I'm trying to think of the right word for this, so I get this one right. For me, the World Cup set up for pro players in terms of the setup of the event. So it's a difficult tournament to play in. It is.
I'm curious too. With you talked about the sports science, and I've talked with you before about how some of the things that you guys did with Team USA have really influenced the way that you go about coaching your team, not just from a tactic standpoint, but from a recovery standpoint. Yeah. You know, that's got to be hard on your body when you're going through a tournament like that at any level, right? But especially now, as I take this to the context of your team this year, that short recovery that you guys had in the offseason, I mean, you probably have a lot of different pieces that you were able to pull from to put your offseason together heading into this year, didn't you?
It is. It's how you control your environment, and you know, we control our environments here with the recovery piece and all the things we have downstairs in the Mariota Center. We're able to control that piece, and in terms of our recovery, you know, when you look back to an Olympics versus a World Cup, the Olympics, it's hard because you're controlled by the IOC in terms of what you can and what you can't bring into the facility, how many people you have. When a World Cup, your staff is massive because you can have massage therapists, you can have X amount of trainers, you can have doctors, you can have all these different strategies to recover, and you've got extra days involved. Olympics is a lot different with regards to that because you can only get so many people into the village, into the Olympic Village.
Right. Graeme Abel, we talked a lot there. So, you know, I'm looking forward to just seeing the community at Pape Field. Tickets are on sale. Season tickets are on sale. Next Friday, Oregon soccer is always the first sport that kicks us off. And it comes at you quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't wait. Like I said, I mean, we've got, you know, Corbin coming up. Then it's the Fresno game, the San Francisco game on the road. And then we've got Northern Arizona game. And then the Fresno game, not Fresno, the Santa Barbara game that we have here in Eugene's right before the opening football game. So it's yeah, it's going to be an incredible start to the season. We just can't wait to get going.
Looking forward to it. We'll talk with Coach Abel every Monday. That's the plan as we check in with Oregon soccer. And, man, I always appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a really long walk for you.
It is. It's at least 3 steps. So
3?
3, yeah, definitely. So I get my cardio in for the day.
I would think that's at least 2. You know, you could probably make it in one skip or hop, right?
A big back in the day, maybe a jump. Not these days.
What if I put a cone in the middle of the hallway, and does that like make it a drill for you to get from room to room?
Probably, yeah. That would count.
Yeah, Coach Abel's office is literally right across from the studio, so this works out well for us. Coach, I'll give you a fist pump.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming in, and we're looking forward to seeing you at Pape.
Anytime. Thanks, Joey.
All right, we're going to get a quick timeout. When we return, your Cafe 2-minute drill to wrap things up today, and it's actually going to be about a 7-minute drill if I did my timing right, but it's the first show, might be behind by a minute or two. We'll find out after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. That was fun, man, talking with Coach Abel. It was a lot of fun. And you guys are going to find that you'll know when I have during a commercial conversation with a coach, because Coach Abel walked out right as we were taking off for the next segment. So that means that, I was behind on the – there we go. You guys, this is the inside radio. You guys are all going to know, like, oh, that coach must have had another meeting. He had to run. Or Joey didn't have any off-the-record conversation pieces to have with him. So, hey, your Cafe 2-minute drill, we do this every Monday, and what I like to do is we'll have some interviews. We'll have some long-form stuff for you. That's how we usually do it on the show, as you all know, those of you who are regular listeners. But what I also like to do in the Cafe 2-minute drill is just kind of go rapid-fire, and this is the first one that we've done since June, because we usually take July off. It's a chance for Scott and I to not work 7 days a week, so we really like to take advantage of that. Well, if you missed it earlier, 100% capacity at Autzen Stadium. All the details are on GoDucks.com. We will continue on the show to tell you about the different updates, frequently asked questions, everything that you need to know. The Olympic schedule is also still available on GoDucks.com. And I want to give a particular shout-out to Chris Duarte in your Cafe 2-minute drill. The first lottery pick of the Dana Altman era. So cool for the Jerry West Award winner, Chris Duarte. The 13th overall pick. the Indiana Pacers got a good one. He was the top shooting guard in the nation. Duarte was absolutely outstanding for the Ducks last year. Over 17 points per game, shot 53% from the floor, and he's the 13th overall pick. Duarte, by the way, Oregon's highest draft pick since Luke Jackson went number 10 overall in 2004 and the 8th highest selection in program history. You're in a realm of Luke Jackson. I think that's pretty good territory for Chris Duarte. Congratulations to Chris. Wishing him nothing but the best. On that note of the alumni connection for Oregon basketball, I had the opportunity this past couple weeks to work with the guys that were behind Team Always Us, the Oregon basketball alumni team. God, it was so cool to see Marty Lunin back in Eugene. It was so cool to see Tawan Porter, Bryce Taylor, and then some more recent guys too, like a Casey Benson, Dwayne Benjamin. They were all there. Particular shout out to Robbie Ellis and Brian O'Reilly, two former Oregon basketball student managers that helped put this thing together. They worked with Josh Jamison, the director of men's basketball operations. Mike Menigo, Oregon assistant coach, was instrumental in bringing all these guys back to campus. They got to practice in the new Matthew Knight Arena practice facility. Just so awesome to see all those guys, and selfishly for me, just to get a chance to meet some of those guys. I hadn't met Marty Lunin before, and it was so cool to see that. Now, they did not win the basketball tournament for $1 million, but I think that the connection to the alumni is something really cool, and I hope that it continues. You heard us talking with Rob Mullens earlier about Derek Radley. Athletic Director Rob Mullens announcing a contract extension for the Oregon women's golf head coach through the 24-25 season, and I personally could not be more thrilled about that because the women's golf program is trending in an absolutely great direction. Also today, Casey Martin announced the hiring of former PGA Tour pro and Eugene native Jeff Quinney as an assistant coach. Welcome home to the new Oregon men's golf assistant coach, who was on the PGA Tour for 5 seasons from 2007 to 11, finished his career with 12 top 10s and a pair of runner-up finishes. Welcome home to the Eugene native, Jeff Quinney, joining the coaching staff. A number of MLB drafted Ducks. One to keep in mind, this is pretty darn cool. Kenyon Yovan will be making a return to PK Park, playing against the Eugene Emeralds here in the next few days, which is awesome. Our friends in the M's are playing at PK Park right now. Our buddy Alex Stimson doing a lot of work with them, and I'm so excited for him. And it looks like Aaron Zavala just signed his contract with the Texas Rangers, so that's cool. Just a few of the MLB drafted Ducks to keep your eyes on. And our friend Anisha Curry, former Duck, she has been named an assistant coach for the Portland Trail Blazers with their new staff under Chauncey Billups. Anisha was the only female assistant men's basketball coach over the last few years, and now she is the 8th female assistant coach in the NBA. A true trailblazer. She was on the WNIT title team for the Oregon Ducks. Anisha Curry, congratulations. We interviewed her as part of our Bring 'em Back campaign during the, well, I'm just going to start calling it the crazy year. And Anisha Curry was just absolutely awesome. Such a cool deal. Well, that's your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, serving Northwest inspiring catering and takeout for your next gathering or meeting. Menus are always available at cafeyum.com. It's a big one. We've got a lot more to tell you about tomorrow because it's Oregon Football Media Day. A number of coaches and student athletes talking with the media, and we have a jam-packed show for you. We'll see you then. Thanks for joining us. Good to be back.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen